Start of Moto #1 here at Spring Creek Motocross Park. You get a good look at the riders, and they've got the umbrellas out there because, no, it is not raining, folks. It is hot.
Hot and humid. For a second there, a factory rider actually had to hold his own umbrella, John.
Unbelievable.
Right there, good look at Jeff Emig stretching out his forearms. He doesn't want any more water. He appears to be tanked up, getting loose and ready. He seems focused.
Jeff Emig trailing Jeremy McGrath by 19 points. Skip Norfolk and Jeremy sitting there. And David, what do you guys talk about to your mechanics when you're on the line getting ready to start?
Well, you just kind of go over the game plan, something you've talked about in the entire week leading up to the race, and make sure that you're focused on what your job is at hand, and not a whole lot, really. Make sure the gas is turned on.
Yeah, that's an important point. We are getting set for the start of Moto #1. Welcome back to Spring Creek Motocross Park, Millville, Minnesota. David Bailey, Art Ekman, and John Kernan getting set to start round 9 of the AMA 250cc Outdoor Motocross Series. There you see the 40 riders, some of the 40 best riders in the world getting set to do battle, waiting for that gate to drop. Just hear them thundering like a bunch of bumblebees coming up there to that first turn. Let's see who's out in front. It looks like a Honda, and hey, that's Donnie Schmidt out of retirement riding up here. David, what a way to break out in front of the hometown fans, get the whole shot.
Oh, that's fantastic. And Donnie Schmidt doesn't ride this whole series. I want to point out he's coming from over racing in Europe and I think in retirement, actually. And he's come out of retirement to ride this one race. That's why the number 100, and well, what a way to go out.
Man, I tell you what, he's got the fans. You can hear him cheering in the background, but look at that. Here comes the Kawasaki of Mike Kudrowski. Also, Jeremy McGrath is in the 3rd spot, and Larry Ward on the number 11 bike. He has settled down into the 4th spot. And look at Donnie as he's having little problems negotiating the whoops there. It looks like Kudrowski coming around to the outside. Oh, they almost get together. And well, speaking of getting together, look, that's Jeff Emig. 2nd place in points, and he's down and might have some serious damage. And look at that, John Dowd also trying to get his bike back up.
Well, this is disaster for Team Yamaha. John Dowd is the defending race champion, and Jeff Emig, as you mentioned, is 2nd place in the points. Look, he has no front fender. Everything's bent up. I don't even know if he's going to be able to finish this moto.
With no front fender, David, I mean, how big of a problem is that?
Well, I've ridden like that once in a mud race, and the front wheel looks like it's going to hit you right in the face every time the forks compress. It really takes a long time to get adjusted to that. Plus, the number plate's going to be flapping around.
Well, back up front now, look at Schmidt as he gave up the 1st spot to Kudrowski, but acts like he wants it back. Almost has a problem there with the rut. Now look, Jeremy McGrath is alongside, and Jeremy looking to take over that 2nd spot, but for right now, Mike Kudrowski is out in front.
Well, I think Donnie Schmidt's going to get a lesson in how to go fast here pretty quick. These guys don't fool around, and right now he's following the fastest rider in the world, Jeremy McGrath.
And Jeremy McGrath, of course, leading the points, as I said, by 19 over Emig, and now you look back, and these guys still haven't refired, and look what is sticking out of the spokes on Emig's bike.
Well, it looks like the front brake cable and the front fork guard, that's upside-down forks, and there's a guard there to protect the bottom of that fork leg, and it's all sticking out. Like I said, I don't even know if he's going to be able to get restarted and finish this moto.
Would it be worth his while to pull over and do some repairs and then rejoin the race?
Well, I think so. He's already lost quite a bit of time, but he's got to go an entire lap before he can get back to the mechanics area, so he'll lose a lot of time in the process.
Man, I tell you what, that's going to put some distance between 1st and 2nd. It was only 19 coming in, and Jeremy McGrath is riding in 2nd spot right now. I guess Jeremy can sit back and cruise behind Kudrowski.
Well, I don't think he's going to be content to do that. However, you know, in theory, he could. And I don't know if they would have showed him a signal that Emig has had those problems right away. But you can bet somewhere during the moto that Skip Norfolk will throw on the pit board that Emig is way back in the field.
Now we got a battle developing for the 3rd spot between Donnie Schmidt and Larry Ward. Ward, of course, had a great Supercross season, finishing 2nd to McGrath, but outdoors had somewhat of a disappointing year so far. And speaking of disappointing, Mike Kudrowski on that 7 Kawasaki, he's had some ups and downs. In fact, he had a win at Hangtown, the 2nd of the year, and basically we haven't heard that much from him since.
Right, well, after that 2nd moto at Hangtown, I thought, oh, here we go. It's going to be a lot like last year, only Lorocco doesn't factor into the points, because Kudrowski looked fantastic there, and he just hasn't been able to find that rhythm since. And here today, he's got a great opportunity, but he's got Jeremy McGrath breathing down his neck.
Yeah, but won't that make him ride a little bit faster?
Yeah, maybe faster, but also a little more tense and nervous, because you got to ride more defensive. You know, when McGrath's that close, you can bet it plays a part. Right there, he came up a little bit short on that plateau, and that's just an example of some of the mistakes that a rider like McGrath can force you to make.
But he doesn't do it on purpose, right? It's your own mental mistakes that you make thinking about him.
Sure. It's that kind of pressure just really messes with people. And if you notice, everybody that ever seems to be close enough to McGrath to mount a challenge, they always seem to have a problem. And I think that's not any accident.
Well, look at this. Back in the pit area, some repairs being put on the two Yamaha bikes, Dowd and Emig. Now, we didn't have a camera on it. We're not exactly quite sure how that developed, but man, what a blow to those two riders, especially for Emig.
Right, so and it's just like you said, he had to come into the mechanics area and get some changes, but in that whole lap, he probably had to ride pretty slow before he could get around there with parts flying out into the spokes.
We are in the early stages of Moto #1 here at Millville, Minnesota. As you take a look at the Suzuki field summary, get a good look at our top 10. Welcome back to Moto #1 here at Millville, Minnesota. Back up front, you get a good look at coming over some of the jumps there. Donnie Schmidt still hanging on in 4th. You've got up front the 7 bike. That's a Kawasaki with Mike Kudrowski. And Jeremy McGrath is hot on his tail, followed by Larry Ward.
Well, Jeremy is close enough to keep a little pressure on Kudrowski, but Kudrowski riding pretty good. The best I've seen him ride in a long time here. I don't think Jeremy particularly fast or anywhere, having a little trouble in that whoop section there. And Larry Ward pretty close to the leader, so he's having a pretty good day so far.
Just watching the 3 leaders coming through the whoop section right there, it looked like Ward got through the whoops better than the other 2.
Well, that could be he's a little bit taller, and the other thing is too, it's pretty inconsistent. I don't think anybody's going to go through that whoop section today the same every lap, and it could be that Larry Ward has had it dialed in that particular lap.
Well, Kudrowski leading McGrath. David, where were you when I was trying to learn how to ride motocross, man? I tell you, the kids at home don't know the opportunity that they have getting this information from you.
Well, I'm glad I can provide it, and it was fun while it lasted out there riding, and I'm just glad I didn't knock my head. I can still remember some of it.
Well, Mike Kudrowski's having a fun time right now. Look at that. He's put a little distance on the 2nd place rider, Jeremy McGrath.
Well, one thing that we didn't point out when we were talking about Kudrowski's year so far is that at Daytona, he did have a little success in between having some terrible rides, and he put together another win, 3 in a row at Daytona. Daytona's sandy, and look what we got here, sand. So he's shining right now.
Well, that's a good point, but look at McGrath come through the whoops as he's trying to take over the top spot, but Kudrowski holds on to it for now. Let's check into his pits with Art.
Brian, it just depends on what part of the track they're in, who's going to be closer than to whom.
Yeah, and it's winding down right now, so the temperature and the heat's really winding on everybody, so it's getting interesting. Plus, Lorocco's coming up now from behind a little bit, but the front 2 guys are definitely working at it pretty hard.
Start number 5, Donnie Schmidt.
Yeah, Art, they are working real hard at it right now as you look at Kudrowski trying to hold off McGrath. And look at that, Kudrowski glancing over to see where he is.
Well, I'm pretty sure he knows who it is, so it surprised me to see him look over right there. Maybe he just wanted to see if McGrath was sizing him up to try to cut back underneath him, and he covered that move well.
And look at James Dobb has gone down. He's getting back up. Doesn't look like he's hurt the bike too much. Not quite sure exactly what happened, but he gets it refired and will rejoin.
Well, his right shoulder there, you can see a bunch of dirt on that. So
yeah.
That's that tough whoop section we highlighted at the beginning of the show. So he probably took a header right there, and he's just a little groggy.
A little groggy. Ugh. Well, Kudrowski certainly not groggy at all. He's had things his way after he got by Donnie Schmidt, who took the whole shot and brought all the local fans to their feet. They really like to see the guy coming out of retirement to run out here. And what did that sign say? I missed it.
Well, Skip pointed back behind McGrath, and on the board it said he's coming. So I think he's referring to Lorocco, which Brian Lunas had just talked about. And you hate to see that. I don't like to hear about anybody coming. Right now, I just want to focus on getting around Kudrowski if I can, if I'm McGrath, and then you hear somebody's coming, you know you got to go even faster, and that's not very comforting.
Here they come through some of the whoops, and look at McGrath make up some of the ground now as he almost draws even with Kudrowski, but he has to drop in and get back in the line to come around that tight turn.
Almost looked like he was drafting him through there.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah, he's close. When you're Kudrowski and you got a guy riding next to you, right beside you like that close everywhere around the racetrack, just makes you nervous, forces you into mistakes, and that's what McGrath is so good at.
Oh, look at McGrath there. That was almost a knack-knack, wasn't it? And look at the ground he made up as he's now challenging for the lead on Kudrowski, almost side by side. But Kudrowski gets the drive, but slips to the outside. McGrath on the inside. I think they might have touched momentarily there, but no harm, no foul, and Kudrowski hangs on to the top spot.
McGrath just having a little fun with Kudrowski right there, showing him a wheel, trying to make him nervous.
Well, take a look at the top 10, our Suzuki field summary. Pick out your favorite rider, and we'll be back with more from Millville right after this. Back at Spring Creek Motocross Park, our second place points man, Jeff Emig, has gotten his bike fixed. And no, this is not a trail ride, it's a motocross event. And Jeff is back out there. Let's check into his pits. Art Ekman is standing by with Steve.
This could have right here meant the points championship, Steve. Unfortunate crash, and he had to do it with a teammate. That's even more unfortunate, but how does the bike look as it's out on the track?
Yeah, he has no front brake. The throttle's really broken. The clutch, I think, is really bent, but he may be able to use it. But without the front brake here and a lot of them steep downhills, I don't think he can go anywhere. So maybe, I don't know, maybe worthless him being out there, but maybe see how he goes. Might be tempted to pull him in so he can maybe go out and win the second moto.
Well, I think what Steve Butler was talking about with the throttle there is that there's plastic and it rides over the top of the handlebar. When that breaks, I've had that happen to my bike in a big pileup. And what he has to do is turn the throttle on and turn it off because it won't slide on the handlebar. And I think he's right. They should take a close look and see if he's going to be able to get in the top 20, if there's even a shot at it. If not, why waste energy? You heard how hot it is out there. He can just be fresh for the second moto.
Back up front, look at the separation that Mike Kudrowski has put on second place, Jeremy McGrath. But more importantly, look at the third place rider, Mike Lorocco. The rocket is rolling, and he is just about to catch McGrath and make a strong challenge for that second spot.
Now look how fast he went through that section right there, up into that corner, didn't even look like he was going to make the turn, so he's on the gas. One thing I like about Lorocco is he charges hard into corners, hard under braking. He makes up a lot of time there.
Now you look once again up front as Kudrowski looks over his shoulder like, hey, McGrath, where'd you go? Oh, you got my teammate to worry about, huh?
Yeah, he's probably hoping Lorocco can get around and push McGrath out of the way. And I think he's going to have to deal with Lorocco here pretty soon, the way Lorocco's riding. So I don't think he's off the hook.
You talked about the effect that McGrath had on Kudrowski. What about Lorocco on McGrath?
Well, I think he'll make anybody nervous. Lorocco has proven that he can go faster than McGrath. McGrath knows that, and it'll make him nervous.
Oh, man, he is really catching him as they come up the hill. McGrath slips outside. Look at Lorocco. Shoots to the inside down the hill. And Lorocco has moved past Jeremy McGrath into the second spot. And you can just hear everybody here cheering.
I don't believe what I'm seeing. Look at McGrath. He's just trail riding right now. He went wide, looked over, saw Lorocco go by, and just trail rode down the hill and into these switchbacks. Looked like he just completely gave up. And, you know, in his defense, he doesn't have to beat these guys. He probably knows by now that Emig's buried in the pack. That's his closest contender for the title, but you don't like to see a guy give up like that. The fans want to see Jeremy challenge these guys.
Well, he's still riding along in third place. There's still a little time left in Moto #1, so maybe he will come back. But right now, McGrath sitting in third place. The two Kawasaki guys who had their way for most of last season are running 1-2, Kudrowski and Lorocco. Let's check into pits with Art Ekman.
Skip, it's kind of hard to be cool on a track like today's.
Yeah, but we got a big break with Emig going down and having some gear problems with his bike. So Jeremy knows he's out of this moto, and that's who we're kind of racing for the championship. Looks like he's kind of taking it easy out there, finishing the top 3 and save his energy and maybe go hammer on him second moto.
Well, he always said that his second moto's his favorite.
Yeah, he's been tearing the second motos up. We just got to do something during the first one.
Well, you're not going to do it by giving up. And it was very obvious to me that Jeremy just shifted into the cruise mode. And I don't know if he's just going to save his energy and try to go back to the second moto like he said or what. But look at him right there. He doesn't even care about this moto right now.
Well, this is a guy who cares for a good finish. He's running along in the 4th spot, Larry Ward. And he really needs something good to happen here as we get to the close of the outdoor season.
Well, something good will be that he'll probably look up there and see McGrath riding around slow. Maybe he can pass somebody.
Yeah, but it looks like he's got a long way to go before he's going to catch McGrath. But, hey, anything's possible. Right now, Larry Ward's riding out there all alone, and they call it, you know, the Maytag repairman's the loneliest guy in town. Looks like right now Larry Ward is. So how, when you're running, well, he's coming up on one of the lapped riders and goes around with these, but when you're running by yourself, you have no concept how fast you're going, do you?
Right, it's kind of boring. You just try to, you know, as a rider, when you've ridden this long, you have that instinct. You know how fast you're going. And right now, Larry looks like he's pacing himself to me. He doesn't look much different than McGrath. They're probably running about the same pace. And it is boring, but you try to save energy because you're thinking about the second moto. You try to look at how the track develops so that when the second moto rolls around, you'll have some good lines right off the bat. Hope for a better start.
Back up front now, look at the rocket. He is closing in on his Kawasaki teammate in a hurry. Mike Lorocco, he's not going to settle for second. He wants to get around and win this moto.
Well, it looks like he's going to.
Ooh,
wow.
Good grief. Oh, he gets a little squirrely there, but he comes into the outside rut. And look, there the fans got the hankies out waving him around. And now the lap traffic will really play into it as, look, Lorocco on the inside sweeps around and takes over the top spot.
Well, that's how you win races. And then we're not seeing that from McGrath right now. I understand that he's in a position to win the championship and he's got to ride smart, but this is what the fans pay to see. This is what I like to watch when I see a race. The guy that's trying as hard as he can, and Lorocco's doing it. And I can appreciate that talent and aggression.
Well, let's take another look at that pass, David.
Well, the lapped riders obviously played a big part, and I don't think that Lorocco could have made that pass on Kudrowski. He just got fouled up a little bit, had the wide line, and Lorocco just rode right in there and took it away.
Right now, Lorocco is out in front, and he's already put quite a bit of distance between himself and his teammate. Take a look at the top 10 on our Suzuki Field Summary. Back with the finish after this. White flag is out for Mike Lorocco. Final lap, moto number 1 here at Millville, Minnesota. Crowd cheering him on.
Well, there's a guy that's in shape. This guy is charging hard. It's the final lap. You can see the lead he's got. Doesn't need to charge very hard, but he's still going after it, and that's why he's got that number 1 plate on his motorcycle. Right
now, he's got the number 1 spot. Just tooling around an easy Sunday afternoon ride. Of course, the first half of it wasn't all that easy, was it?
No, he's had his problems this year. I mean, it's got to be just so frustrating for it. I mean, I think he's the fastest rider. In Supercross, he's got his hands full with McGrath, but he still had a shot at it when he got hurt, and it had to be a bummer for him to have all his problems in Nashville and know that he didn't have a chance to win the championship. But you see the effort he still puts out, and I admire that.
It's amazing to me that after breaking the arm at Charlotte and all the time he missed riding, that he is still in this good a shape.
Right, well, he's in fantastic shape. That's something he's known for. And, you know, another thing, too, I mean, I've bagged him a bunch of times on not being able to get good starts, but he sure has improved. I mean, without starts he's been getting, I don't think he could dominate like this.
He doesn't have everything squared away for next year either, does he?
I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm sure he'll be a hot property, and whoever he goes with, he'll get plenty of dough.
Oh, yeah, do-re-mi. Last lap, Lorocco is out in front. Kudrowski is back in second place. And I'm wondering if on any of our cameras if we can see if Larry Ward ever caught up with Jeremy McGrath.
Well, I don't think Jeremy would let that happen. He'd look back there and see him coming, and I think Skip Norfolk would take that chalkboard and whack Jeremy over the head with it if he would let that happen. But they're smart. I mean, you know, I sounded a little disappointed in Jeremy by not really giving it an effort, but he's got to ride for the championship, and he's doing the right thing. It's just unfortunate that these guys aren't part of that points chase, and we'd see a real good battle.
Lorocco taking it really easy on this final lap to the cheers of the, about 12,000 people here this weekend. I mean, it's an enormous crowd for this place, a record, I'm told.
I think they're all going to jump in the river after this moto because it's hot out here.
Or the river, dump a bucket of ice water on your head, something to cool off. But this guy doesn't want to cool things off. Mike Lorocco takes the checkered flag, taking home the victory here in Moto number 1 at the Spring Creek Motocross Park, Millville, Minnesota. So he comes over. Art Ekman will be talking to him in just a moment. But first, he's going to get a drink of water, take off the goggles and the helmet. As you look at the rest of the top 5, Kudrowski, McGrath, Larry Ward, and a great ride for Donnie Schmidt coming out of retirement. And as you look at the remainder of the top 10, Art is with our second place finisher.